What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for To Your Eternity. This is episode. I forget what episode we're. What episode we're on?
I think we're in 10 episodes now.
Okay, so episode 10, and with me as always, I have Bluespade.
We're immediately following up on what happened after the last episode. So, of course, we pick up where Fushi's, once again being attacked by, this plant-like monster. Although we find out that these plant-like creatures are called knockers by Fushi's creator. So Fushi tries to hold his own a bit more efficiently than he did the last time. Seeing that he can form weapons out from his body. Although, unfortunately, he's still the plant still has the upper hand every time it makes contact with him and keeps taking his form. So Fushi asks Gugu to pretty much run away from the fight, otherwise he'll bite him. And of course, in the process, while Gugu is running away, he gets hit, and then he just ends up puking out all the alcohol that was in his belly in the first place. Although, of course, in the process, Gugu finds out that the alcohol that was in his body is also flammable. So he tries to blow out some flames onto the plant monster, but he unfortunately he realizes that now all the alcohol that he puked out is all gone. So he had to run all the way back to the shop where the old man lives. Although, in the process,
it's more like he stumbles all the way back because apparently he somehow becomes intoxicated.
Yeah, and which is also weird. So he gets back just fully buzzed out, and he finds out that that Reen's parents come in to pick her up, and of course Reen doesn't approve of having to be taken home by your parents, and then of course her parents just ignore her request to just stay in the shop. So of course, at the same time, Gugu is still intoxicated from all the alcohol that he apparently just puked out. I don't even know how he maintained his soberness the entire time he had the alcohol in his belly. But of course, he demands the old man just pretty much fill him up with more booze, which is funny. Of course, we don't. I don't think we even see it. See him consume any more alcohol than that, but
the old man gives puts that tube into his mouth and just pours more alcohol into him.
Mm-hmm. So then of course Gugu gets out. He tries to stop Reen's parents from going out and pretty much gives his reasons why he wants Reen to stay. But at the same time, he realizes that he needs to go out and rescue Fushi from the knocker outside. So he gets out, and then of course Reen and her parents are about to leave. But just before they do that, the old woman stops them from going out. So
her name was Pioren or Pioren or something.
Yeah, that's her name. So Gugu gets out, and so for some reason he's already. I don't know if he's still buzzed out or if he's still sober, but he seems to be still sober. By the time he gets out,
I think he's still intoxicated. Well, I mean, because his entire body's this red, and he's still acting like he's intoxicated after consuming more alcohol. Because before he leaves, he's kind of confesses his feelings for Reen, I guess, just because he's in his intoxicated state. Mm-hmm. He just tells her that, and then just leaves to go help Fushi.
Yeah, but by the time we see him fight the plant monster again,
he's strangely back to normal. It looks like, but I mean, during that time, it seemed like he was still intoxicated. But I don't know. I don't know how that works because he does seem sober by the time he goes to help Fushi again.
Yeah. So, of course, the first thing he finds is, of course, the giant plant knocker. Transformed into Fushi's bear form, and then soon afterwards, finally manages to blast out all the alcohol from his body. This time by inflaming, the alcohol by shooting it into the giant knocker, which pretty much
somehow this didn't start a forest fire.
No, I mean, and of course, like everyone in the that was in the shop were able to see it, but yeah, it's just strangely enough, it didn't, like you said, it didn't even start a forest fire. So the giant knockers like pretty much burned to death, and then Gugu initially thought that Fushi was dead at this point after it consumed all of his forms, but he finds out that I guess whatever it is, like this what was it, this magical cloud
it's
thing? A rock. It just pretty much goes back into the rock, which was technically Fushi's original form back in the first episode, and Gugu picks it up, and then of course the rock ends up changing back into Fushi's default boy form.
I guess it's because his creator touched the rock, and I suppose gave life back to the rock.
Yeah, I take it back. Not his boy form, but back into his wolf form. Yeah. So, and of course, Fushi's pretty much grateful for what Gugu did, even though he, initially told him to run away from the fight. So it pretty much like strengthens their brotherly relationship up to this point. So they finally go back to the shop the following morning, and then of course they pretty much help clean up the shop, and then of course Rin does eventually end up going back with her parents, but she promises to regularly visit the shop now and then.
Yeah, and it seems like that both him and Rin come to this conclusion, like, because he thinks this about the Booze Man, where like he hates the Booze Man for like kind of how he treats him at times, but he still feels appreciative to him because of him saving his life, and that Rin like doesn't really get along well with her parents, but she still like loves them, I suppose, is kind of like the message, I guess, because she does end up going back with them.
Yeah. And then of course shortly afterwards,
but of course also I should mention that before this happens too, Rin kind of gives her main issue, I guess, with her parents is that they don't give her enough freedom, and that was like kind of the why she left.
Yeah, it was kind of what she told Gugu back in the last episode of why she ran away from the home in the first place, because like no matter how many times she told her parents to just leave her alone, they just wouldn't they just got her in her case every single time. So it just kind of bothered her to the point where where it bothered her to the point where she couldn't even take it anymore. So eventually we are treated to this surprisingly it was like this 4-year time skip, and we see Gugu like working in the shop, and he's incredibly ripped at this point.
Yeah, I guess he's been working out a lot with the pull-up bar he has. I don't know how old he is at this point though, because he said there was 4 years. I'm guessing he was maybe 13 when we saw him, so maybe he's like 17 now, or maybe 18.
I don't know. Like, and honestly, I don't even know how old Gugu is, and it's like he's even taller than Fushi now, so it's hard for me to even believe that he's like in his late teens. Like he didn't even look like he was even like past 10, like in the last several episodes. So.
Yeah. I mean, although I'm guessing he was probably supposed to be either 12 or 13, something like that. But yeah, he did look kind of younger, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. So Gugu like is still working at the shop, and we also see like we said, like Rin is also like regularly visiting the shop from time to time. And then of course they're getting lunch ready, and then they're wondering where Fushi is. So we also see that Fushi's outside checking that he's also growing some facial hair. So it looks to me like he's gotten even older than last time as well. So I don't know how his form works, like, or how it works, but it seems like his body does end up aging from time to time.
I was actually surprised by this. I kind of assumed Fushi would be like the same, like the same age. So I was surprised to actually see his physical appearance. Like he actually does age. I wonder if this is the case for his other forms too, though. Like, is it just because he's kept the same form all this time that his body has aged, or do his other forms like age along with him, or does it just is it just a case of like which form he decides he wants to use the most, and that's the form that like physically ages more? Because I'm wondering, like, did his other forms do that too, like March, or I guess his animal forms or anything like that?
There's not a lot we know about Fushi at this point. There's one thing I also forgot to point out, that Fushi also has this this one conversation with his creator, that his creator tells him about the knockers, and he warns him that he can't stay in the one place for too long, otherwise the knockers are gonna end up coming back for him, and and each time Fushi will ends up finding him and defeating them, they end up learning to find out how to defeat Fushi one more time. So
so there does kind of seem to be an overarching plot that's sort of developing with the knockers. His Fushi's creator saying that the knockers are trying to destroy the world, I guess, or something, and he's trying to stop them. But we still don't really know much about like what they even are, or like why they're doing this. Yeah,
I mean, like, and we don't even know why they want to target Fushi specifically, and of course, what exactly does Fushi's creator has anything to do with everything that's going on right now? But of course, we also find out that Fushi's the only person that can really see his own creator, and of course, Gugu at one point tells Fushi like who's he talking to, and then like Fushi's puzzled as to why nobody else can see him. So that's pretty much it. But back to what we were talking about, like post time skip. So like Fushi's body, like current body is like is a little bit older, and of course we also find out that he's like kind of learned a bit, like during the 4 years he's been staying there.
His speech has improved.
And then of course he learned how to cook a lot more properly thanks to Gugu's teaching. So it's obviously that Gugu's more of the older brother to Fushi at this point.
Yeah, strangely enough, even though it seems like, I don't know, I actually don't know how old Fushi's physical form is supposed to be in terms of I don't know. I guess I mean, in a sense, it really is more like Gugu is the older brother, though. Even though I'm assuming that like the boy that Fushi's possessing is supposed to be like actually older than Gugu.
Yeah, but I mean, technically Fushi is older if you consider how long
if you consider how old he how old he just he himself is. He's probably like hundreds of years older.
But he's only learned how to speak properly, like learn how to write, read, and actually cook in the 4 years that he's interacted with other people. So
we actually get some pretty good character development both with Gugu and Fushi. I actually really like where this current arc is going, although I can see there being some kind of a tragic end to all of this because everything seems fine now. But of course, like the Fushi's creator said, the knockers are going to come back for him. So his creator says you can either stay here or you can leave, and Fushi decides to stay. And I feel like that honestly is probably going to end up being kind of bad for everybody else because, like the creator said, the knockers are probably going to come back for him, and that might be bad for the people around him because they might attack him as well.
And Fushi tells his creator saying that he wants to stay because he can rely on Gugu to protect him. But I think that's more or less going to bite him in the ass if something bad is going to happen later.
I feel like Gugu is capable of trying to protect himself from those things, but at the same time, I feel like you said, that's probably he's not as powerful. Like he doesn't have like the kind of abilities that Fushi does. He might be physically strong, but he's not like he doesn't have those kind of powers. So he might not while he might be able to fend them off, I don't think he would be able to defeat. Well, maybe he might be able to defeat one of them, but if there's more than one, then yeah, he might have some trouble.
Yeah. I really do feel that Fushi's underestimating like his enemies at this point. But we probably might expect the Knockers to eventually end up coming back and attacking while they least expected. And
Pretty much,
honestly,
yeah.
I'm expecting something tragic to happen, as like all the other stuff that we've seen before. So, but yeah, I thought this was a decent episode. It developed Fushi and Gugu's relationship a lot more in this episode, and then of course Fushi's time living among other people within several years has improved his social abilities a bit more.
Yeah, I thought this was definitely a really good episode. I felt like the time skip took me a little bit by surprise. I expected it to happen, but not so soon. So I'm kind of wondering where the arc is going to go from here. Of course, like I mentioned before, there's still the threat of Hayase who might eventually hunt them down. But I mean, it is, I don't know, I guess it is kind of telling that it's been a 4-year time skip and she hasn't found Fushi yet. But I do expect her to eventually reappear again, especially considering she is kind of a prominent character in the opening. So I think, and she's still a threat as far as we know. So aside from the Knockers, she's also another threat that could come back to try to hunt down Fushi or something. But yeah, this is definitely a really good episode. It did kind of betray my expectations of, like I said, the potential of Gugu being killed off. So I'm kind of glad that he didn't die because I like his character, but I expect that sort of thing to happen eventually. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say other than that. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, I enjoyed this episode. I mean, like you said, hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of Gugu in the next episode. Well, based on the preview, it looks like Gugu is going to end up seeing his older brother again, based on the previews we just saw at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I do expect their brother to show up again eventually. It's already been 4-year time skip. I'm surprised he hasn't showed up again. I guess he will eventually though.
Just look at the physical differences between the two guys. It's just like Gugu's more ripped than his older brother.
Yeah, I mean his brother's pretty much amazing.
Kind of weird. But yeah, overall, hopefully we'll get to see what happens next week. We probably might expect to see a little bit more slice of life stuff, and a lot more personal stuff going on with the Gugu's life. But we should probably expect something to happen, or probably expect something unexpected to happen based on what's been going on with the Knockers.
Yeah, hopefully so. But so that all being said, until next Monday, we will see you all next time.